Hello and welcome back to my weekly holistic health tip. This week I want to talk about discovering dynamic medicine, and I think the best way to help you to understand dynamic medicine is to explain how I discovered dynamic medicine. And that's kind of to backtrack a little bit and explain a little bit of my upbringing and how I came to be who I am today. Like the majority of people in this crazy ass world, I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. I grew up with an abusive alcoholic father. Like a lot of people, my mother was, unhappy with herself, with life, struggling, human being just like the rest of us, The majority of people in this world simply are just struggling to survive. And the sad thing is raising children in a home where you're simply just struggling to survive and you're unhappy generally creates an unhealthy human being. So by the time I was a teenager, I was so sick that I couldn't even function. I couldn't even get out of bed. I couldn't do anything. To a large degree, when I look back now, I realize that it was a lot of emotional, psychological stress to such a degree that I had just shut down. The interesting thing is that it was undiagnosed. I went from hospital to hospital, doctor to doctor, and nobody could figure out what it was. I had all kinds of tests and diagnoses, and nobody knew. They just kept pumping more and more drugs into my system. So one day I decided I didn't want to do the drugs anymore, that apparently I wasn't really getting any better with conventional medicine, and there had to be a different way, at least just to stop doing what I was doing and to just, take a break and hope I recovered. I was certainly at my deepest point, that I probably have ever been, but I've had deeper points at times, but not to that degree. Because basically what I did was I went on a journey of self-discovery. And that journey led me on an amazing path. And we at first, in the 80s, Mom took me to a naturopath in Toronto. And that was our starting point. We changed our diet. We learned about nutrition. We learned about how the body functions physically. We did everything and anything we could think of to help the body to heal. We did colonics. We did all kinds of physical reflexology and acupuncture and, every therapy that the physical body can utilize to help heal, repair, and detox. We did it, and we spent many, many years. We tried all kinds of superfoods that were new out there at the time that we certainly have far more today. But we had basically been on an incredible journey of healing. And to a large degree, most of that healing was at a very physical, chemical level. We'd done live blood analysis and, seeing the stagnation in the life force and working with spirogerics, low-dose homeopathics. So the evolution of my own health led me to learn more and more about the human organism and how it functions and how it gets diseased. But to a large degree, up until my 20s, all I understood was this physical, chemical body, much like we're still getting today. All the naturopaths out there today talk about the physical, chemical body and nutrition and detoxing and superfoods and eating appropriately and all that kind of stuff, which is all vitally important. But it's only one half of the equation. The other half of the equation is this dynamic individual soul spiritual being, which also has to be addressed as well. And if we don't do both at the exact same time and unfold the integral true individual and help it to heal on every single level, then you're not really finding true health. And that's what I had discovered, is that after, I think it had been about 12 years of just working on my physical chemical body and diet and nutrition and all this detoxing and low-dose homeopathics, which work very much at that physical level, I felt a whole lot better. I was up and I was active and I was mobile, but I still realized I had a lot of emotional turmoil. I was still an unhappy person. Even though I had a physical, healthy body, I was unhappy still. I realized how difficult I found life to be and how heavy and bogged down I was and how much I still struggled with everything. So after my father had passed away before his 50th birthday of cancer, and I had tried everything I could in my power to help him to not die of cancer, unfortunately, I didn't know enough. I only knew enough to kind of maintain my own health. I realized at that point in time that I didn't know enough to help save another human being. Thus, the reason why I started taking, more and more courses about medicine, like homeopathics, natural medicines, and then it led me to Heilkunst, which is an amazing system amazing foundation of natural medicine based on laws, and it creates an amazing foundation of natural laws and principles that all healing has to follow if it's going to be true, if it's going to last, and if it's going to release fully. It has to follow this foundation. So I learned this amazing foundation. It was a 4.5-year course. I then went on to do a postgraduate in anthroposophy and orgonomics, so looking at the soul spiritual as well as the deep integral cellular, how we armor ourselves and hang on to the damage. This is the true dynamic medicine that I've come to really know and evolve in my own life and my own healing, is changing all of the different levels of the human organism. That's dynamic medicine. It's knowing when and where and why to use something and how to use something and what is medicine. What is true medicine? Well, absolutely food is medicine for the body. Proper nutrition is food for the body. And bad nutrition is toxins, is disease to the body. But when you get into the more cosmic soul spiritual realms, our thoughts and our emotions which rule them, we have to realize that they function under a different scale. They have completely different laws and principles. They're not physical, chemical in any way. As much as the medical doctors want to say that our thoughts and our emotions are just firing neurons and blah, 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 blah. No, there's something far more integral in there, something more phenomenal than what meets the eye. And it is that aspect that we have to address in the right way. And so thus is dynamic medicine, is using homeopathic and homotonic remedies that are based in natural laws and that follow the life force, and the proper life force is where those other imbalances and disease reside within the human organism, so we can heal the whole being. And that to me is dynamic medicine. And for myself, yes, I'm still in process. We never stop processing. As long as you're alive, you're always in process. That's one thing that I learned along the way, that I really kind of felt that at some point I'm going to find this grand utopia and I'll just, be at this Buddhist state forever and it'll all be good. But I realized that as a human being, in order to live my life to the fullest and unfold my desires and aspirations and the things that I want to accomplish in this life for me as an individual, for me to do that, I can't be in this, Zen super state all the time. You have to function as a human being. And so the healthier and the clearer you can get on every single level, every dynamic essence of who you are as an individual, is what's going to give you true freedom of your own individual life. And the more you can unfold your own individual evolution, and then give back to society, which is what I'm hoping I'm doing with these health tips. I'm hoping people are going to start watching these a little bit more. I'm hoping people that will be sharing this. If you find this inspiring, then absolutely share this. I've realized that my path in this life is, first and foremost, is to find true health for me. And I'm doing that. Every single day I work damn hard on my health. I'm constantly attentive and aware of my belief structures and how they're affecting my life, and how I can maybe possibly change them. Instead of staying stuck on this path, I want to go on that path. How do I get on that path? How do I make those changes to get there? Because that is true health. True health is being in constant evolution. It's being willing to constantly change, to look at yourself, to make those changes and realize that you are responsible for your own health and I'm responsible for my own health. But as an individual and as someone who's, traveled this long and arduous trail to develop and unfold this true dynamic medicine, it's also my path to give back to humanity. And the only way I can do that for me is to give what I know. And what I know is true health and healing, and how to accomplish it, and what the science is behind true health and healing. That is my gift to the world, is to find true health and to teach you how to find true health. So I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask this week. Number one, if people are truly on this path of healing and are interested in whole health, number one, I'd like to hear your story. I'd like to hear your integral story, because I'm thinking I'd love to write a book about everybody's amazing journey and how unique they really are, because we are all on our own unique journey of self-discovery and healing. And number two, I'm hoping that with this knowledge that if people want to learn more, I'm thinking of designing a course. And so I'd like to maybe do a 6 or 8 week course where I help unfold this dynamic medicine for you, to help you understand, how do I get from here over to here? How do I get from not quite being in health or being really not in health to being in better health naturally, by following those natural laws, by following a true path of healing and curing, not suppression and repression and oppression and all these horrible things that are out there. So that is my holistic health tip this week. It's understanding what is dynamic medicine and my story of unfolding how I discovered dynamic medicine and how I would like to share what I have learned over the last 30 years with you if you're interested in learning it as well. So please share with me your story, because your story is unique to you and it's an amazing story and it needs to be shared because we all can learn something from each other. That's what it's all about, is building a strong community of people who are willing to help each other. And that's kind of all I'm trying to do. So I hope this health tip has been enjoyable and informative for you. And if it has, let me know. Okay?